Good evening, boys and ghouls. We are back with another episode of the Ghoulfriends podcast. If it seems like I am down further, it's because I am on my laptop tonight and I do not have a laptop stand. Also, apparently, you have to charge your mouse for your computer, so I forgot to do that. So here we are. Welcome back to another episode of the Ghoulfriends podcast. I'm Alonna. That's Jamie. We've been live for a minute, but it doesn't feel like I've been doing this intro that long. Dear God, I hope, they didn't hear the rest of that. Anyway, but tonight we're going to be talking about aliens, so sit back, relax, and let's get started.
Yes, and that's aliens as in, like, extraterrestrials, not the movie Aliens, although that is a good topic as well. Especially since there's talk of new Alien movies coming out.
I saw that, yeah.
And, like, bringing back original cast members and everything, so that would be awesome.
I saw that. I have to get updated on the new, on the Aliens thing. I haven't watched it in a hot minute, so hold on one second. I'm just sharing this, so we can keep talking, but I'm just sharing this real quick. But yeah, I haven't watched Aliens or, Alien in a hot minute, so I gotta get caught up.
Oh, it's so good. Whenever you get a chance, definitely watch it.
Yeah.
Hi, Chelsea! Yay! Good to see you here.
Hello, Chelsea. I don't know you, but hello.
Watch it. Hi, Chelsea! Yay! Oh, cool. I love hearing my own voice.
I don't know you. Oh my goodness. Okay. I shared it. So we are live in real time. I forgot about that. Okay.
So you were the telling me.
Go ahead. Hello?
Oh my God, that's a cat. Sorry, that Tari's scratching at the door because she wants in, and I thought it was like a torrential downpour, and I was like, what is happening? Anyway, go ahead.
So the first thing I wanted to discuss is the Roswell incident.
Yes. So you are.
So what are your thoughts?
You're pretty more well versed on it. Like, if you want to talk about the show Roswell, I got you there. But I don't really know too much about the actual incident itself. And I'm gonna step away for just 1 second to let Tari in, so she doesn't drive me insane.
I love Tari. Anyway, my search says portal to the cat dimension, so we're about to go to the cat dimension, y'all. Anyway, so for those who do not know, the Roswell incident happened in 1947 in Roswell, New Mexico. This is actually not scripted. This is all from memory, so I don't know how I remember all this, but Unsolved Mysteries did a segment, and what happened was there were these kids, and they were playing outside, and they saw this really weird, like, apparition circular thing in the sky, and they saw it go down. So they ran home to their parents, and they took their parents out to the site where they had found it. So once they did that, they ended up, they realized that the cops were already there, and the FBI, and all these people were there, and they're like, that's strange. We thought that this was like, a plane or, just like a blimp or something even. And what ended up happening was they cordoned off the area. Nobody could go in. Nobody could get out. And then there was like all this talk of like an alien spaceship crashing in the papers. And what ended up happening was there was all these weird photos that were leaked of, they were leaked in the newspaper of a creature that didn't look human on a stretcher, and they couldn't explain it. To this day, they still can't explain it, but that's just a little brief backstory on the Roswell incident in 1947. It is 74 years this year. I forget the exact date it happened. I feel like it was July, but I don't know for sure. But yeah, hello, Rachel.
Hey, Rachel!
I'm just playing with a pencil. Hi, Tari!
Yes, guest starring today, Tariel. So, and then the government tried to cover it all up.
Yeah.
And so I honestly think there was something to it. Just because, I don't know, the way... it's tricky to say because it's like, they didn't act like it was a cover-up, but they, like, not obviously, but in a way, in such a way that it was like, what's really going on here? And
Yeah.
maybe it wasn't even aliens. Maybe it was something else. Maybe it was something to do with espionage or like new
Something
tech
to
or something. Like,
yeah.
but what they said, like a weather balloon, yeah, that's not the story.
Yeah, no, not at all. Because they had said that it was like all metal. That they had saw it was like a silver type metal. Too many eyewitness accounts for it to be denied.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, a lot of those people are unfortunately deceased. Maybe the kids are still alive, but they're probably well into their 80s by now, unfortunately.
Yeah. But at the time, there were all those witness accounts, and so many of them were similar that
Right.
how do you deny that?
Right. Right. And I mean, like I said, I'm not going to open up that can of worms and say, yes, it was or no, it wasn't. But it's always struck me as strange, especially like as a kid watching Robert Stack cover it on Unsolved Mysteries. Shout out Robert Stack, RIP. Love him. Love him. But excuse me, it's just a strange thing, because, oh my God, excuse me. So because, how do they have this happen and then say, well, there's not, there was no witnesses and everything, but the kids who were playing clearly saw everything happen. They were right there. It happened in the woods right next to them.
Right, but it's so easy, especially for adults, to be like, oh, it's just kids, it's their imagination, whatever.
Right. Right. So. And you wonder, like, did they pay off the people who were there, the adults who saw it? Who knows what happened? But that's just always struck me as very odd because, like I said, it's 74 years later, and here we are. We don't have an explanation, even in 2021. It's so weird.
Yeah. Well, and then what was it? Or when was it? It was just a couple months ago, wasn't it? I don't think it was even a year ago yet that the military, they released footage of pilots seeing a UFO on their radar.
Yes.
When they were flying. And it surprises me that came out so quickly. And but then we still have no answers about Roswell.
Right.
Like I could get at the time because, it's the 50s, Right. So people are going to freak out, but I don't understand why not today tell us like, oh, hey, yeah, remember Roswell? That was actually a thing.
Right.
Unless I'm sure there's more to it. There's more layers and shit,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, like I said, and even with Unsolved Mysteries, they only show certain things that they can, and they only say certain things that they can. But, it's always struck me as odd. And another one is, I forget, was it 67 or 68 in California? All those people who were driving on some kind of desolate road at night, and they saw something fly over them, and then everybody got like really, really sick. Like everybody who saw it got really, really sick. And they said it was like radiation poisoning or something just from this thing, like the lights from this thing, whatever this was, flying over them.
That's weird.
Yeah. Rachel said in 2011, Mexico released their footage of UFOs and it aired on RCNN, but no one talks about it. I know. That reminds me of I wish I could find the Twitter post. I've brought it up on here before. Reminds me of that theory with the Malaysia air flight, which, obviously that was a huge tragedy. Rest in peace to all those unfortunate souls.
Yeah.
We still haven't found it.
But where the fuck did it go?
Right. But there was supposedly a coded message from the pilot bots, whatever that thing's called.
The black box.
Yeah, that. There was a coded message from that, and it was all in like military like codes, like Alpha, Whiskey, Foxtrot, and my psychotic ass was able to translate it, and it was something to the effect of "they're not human."
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that gave me chills.
I know, it gives me chills talking about it. I wish I could find a Twitter post, but it was leaked from that, and the media debunked it and said that there was no way because they haven't found the bots yet. But then where did that message come from? You know what I mean? Because it was a robotic voice and it was coded saying SOS something, something, something. They are not human.
Right. And I mean, the media it's limited and it's owned by corporations. And so they report on what they're told to report on.
Right.
So that being said as well, who's to say that's not another Roswell situation?
Right.
Of it's like, oh, well, we didn't find it. Oh well, but it's like, oh shit, we found it, and like there's alien guts everywhere. Like,
Yeah.
who's to say? We don't know, and we may never know.
Right. And that's like I'm saying, like I said, because they still have not found that. And that's at least 7 years now, I think. I wish I could find that Twitter post. One day I'm going to like fall down the cesspool that is Twitter. I hate Twitter. And I'm going to see if I can find it again. Just because I thought it was so creepy, but it was so interesting. But like for some reason, it didn't feel like it was fake. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah. It seemed too legit, I guess. Too legit to quit.
Right. Like it was like a robotic voice, and it was like, like Wisty, Alpha, Foxtrot. It was like the robotic voice was like saying it to spell out a code, and then it repeated it over again, and it was like November, Oliver, etc., etc., etc. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it kept repeating itself over and over again, and I was like, oh Jesus.
Yeah. Well, speaking of government cover-ups with aliens, have you ever heard about the incident at, I had to pull it up because there's so much to it, I'm gonna butcher this name, the Dyatlov Pass in the Soviet Union?
No.
So this happened in 59, February 1st, and
what was going on in the 40s and 50s?
Right? So this one really freaks me out. I first saw it on the show Ancient Aliens. I love that show. Aliens. So, these experienced hikers went up into these mountains in the Soviet Union, and they were going to go for I don't know if it was like a few days or for like a week or whatever, but they're all experienced. This is not their first rodeo, and there was 9 of them, and so they went up there, and they didn't return on time. So they sent folks out there to go look for them, and they found that their campsite was trashed, and their tent was torn apart, but it was torn apart from the inside, and there was no one at the campsite. And they look around, and there's all these sets of footprints, but it's like not boot prints, it's like bare footprints, not animal bare, but like your bare feet.
Like bare feet.
And or in socks with no shoes. And then a little ways away, they found some of the hikers, and they had like no clothes on, just like their underwear, very minimal clothes, and it's freezing temperatures. So from here, we can see that they cut their way out of their tent.
Mm-hmm.
They, for whatever reason, that was quicker and made more sense than opening the tent. And then they ran out without getting dressed or grabbing any of their stuff, because their stuff was still all at the campsite.
Right.
So they found 2 of the hikers, and it said that they died of hypothermia. And Tari, get off. Go.
Love you, Tari.
And so it said that they died of hypothermia, and their hands were all messed up, like scraped. The skin was like scraped away. And then farther away, they found the other hikers, and there were ones with their tongues missing, their eyes missing. And some people would say, oh, well, that's probably just animals. Okay, one of them had their eyebrows missing. Their eyebrows.
What the?
So, yes. And, God, what else was there? It was...
again, what was going on in the 40s and 50s, man?
Right, exactly.
Holy shit, bro.
I gotta find it, because there's just a whole list, and I was looking it up to refresh myself on it, but I'm not finding it on here. But if you watch the Ancient Aliens episode about it, it talks about how one of them had radiation on their clothing, but the one that I can't find any account of in the articles online, but it's on that episode, is one of them was aged by like 30 years. Like their body was just aged, and there's no explanation at all whatsoever.
What did the time went to 1989?
Yeah, and like now they're saying that it's okay. So now they're saying that it's explained by, oh, there was an avalanche. Which, okay, sure, you hear an avalanche coming, you're like,
right.
Shit, you know, cut your way out of the tent, get the fuck out.
Right.
But if there was an avalanche, how did they find their footprints?
Right.
Wouldn't that be covered up? Wouldn't the bodies be covered up?
Right. But the other explanation I could think of for that, because, you know, sometimes I think logically, sometimes, not all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But the other explanation I could think of for that is maybe altitude sickness, depending on how high up they were. You know, I read about it, and it's like the same symptoms of hypothermia, paranoia, shock, hallucinations, etc., etc., etc. So maybe, and maybe even frostbite. You know, it's just, things like that. But I don't know. That sounds a little fishy, because if they found the footprints, but like I said, it depends on how high up they were.
Right. And also they were experienced in this. So you would think that they'd, be able to like keep a level head, or even if they do start freaking out, like what's the chances of them all freaking out?
Right.
And having the same thought to like, shit, I got to get out of here and I just got to run out into the fucking Arctic. It doesn't fully, I mean, that's definitely a possibility. But I definitely think there's more to it. And the footprints that they found, they were only the hikers' footprints, because there's native peoples around that area. They're ranger hunters, and they interrogated them, but there was no evidence. There was nothing to link it to them, and nothing came of the interrogations.
Right.
So
we have a comment on YouTube. Hello, I'm Rick. Hi, I'm Alonna. It says, or it could be a totally fake story, but yes, it is fishy. Yeah, it is. It is. And, like I said, who knows? It could be fake. Maybe there's, logical explanation like altitude sickness. Maybe they panicked, Who knows? Maybe it was an avalanche. Who knows? It was 60-odd years ago. So I'll be right back. I have to put my phone on charge because I'm on my phone's hotspot.
Okay, gotcha. Chelsea said 40s was the atomic age. Maybe lots of alien activity has something to do with the nuclear power. Aliens and radiation isn't unheard of. That's very true. I mean, during that time, we were really pushing the boundaries on science and making new discoveries. So it is possible that we stepped a little too far, and maybe we made contact with something or became aware of something that we didn't realize was there. The whole time.
And I often think about that there's life on Mars. There's oxygen, there's water on Mars. Like what?
I definitely think there was at least one point there was life on Mars.
But they're saying that there still is, and you're like, so wait, are we the aliens?
Right. Because now we're going to another planet and be like, hey, this is ours now.
Hey guys. That's very United States of us to say, "Hey guys, Mars." Yeah.
I was just about to say yes. It's very white of us.
But no. It's just always fascinated me how there's life on Mars, there's oxygen on Mars, and who knows? All those years ago, maybe we're the weirdos. And I've seen theories that say, if there are proof of aliens, they could look just like us. They could walk, talk, act, eat, breathe, and sleep just like us, and we would never know that they're any different.
Right. It all depends on where they're from, like their planet and the environment and stuff, because we are adapted the way we are to survive on our planet.
Right.
Whereas let's go to the extreme of planets that have metal oceans, because it's so hot or so cold or whatever that, elements react differently, you know, they're gonna
Right.
be adapted to that.
Right.
So,
yeah.
The Pleiadians. What are the Pleiadians, Rachel?
Yes, Rachel, please explain. She said that there was a slight delay, so so there may be a slight delay, so we'll wait for her answer. But you know, and you figure, you know, back in the 40s and 50s, that was post World War II and the beginning of the Korean War. So, Korean, Vietnam, Korea, Korea was almost ended by that point. But I think somewhere in there, I know that the Vietnam War started in 55. That's all I know. And I know that my grandfather served in Korea. So I don't know. But you figure that was the end of one major war right into another. So who knows, you know, what happened then? You know, maybe they, you know, brought something, or we took something over there and started something, or whatever. Or maybe the weapons they were using, who knows?
Yeah. I mean, during the wartime, it's like we're always trying to one up each other. And, you know, especially right before the Cold War and during the Cold War, there's, you know, we have the space race, and it's just like constantly competing against other countries. And so we're all racing, stumbling forward with technology, and maybe we're opening ourselves up to shit that we don't understand enough yet to really be open to.
Right. And, you know, there's places in here in America, and I don't want to say the name because I don't want, you know, like government spies watching me, even though they already are. Because, you know, that whole webcam thing, it's the reason why I have a piece of tape over my desktop webcam, because that whole webcam thing, no thanks. Anyway, but, you know, there's places here in America that, you know, are locked up like Fort Knox, you know, so to speak, the old saying goes.
Yeah.
And nobody's allowed on there, and we don't know what goes on there. And I think you know what I'm talking about. It's out in Nevada.
Yeah.
You know, and it's very strange to me to think about, well, because when, you know, when the storming that happened, when that whole storm Area 51, and I just said it, but
it doesn't matter.
Yeah. When the whole storm Area 51 thing was going on, you know, it was strange, because it seems like, you know, everything, it was like a chain of events. It was like Storm Area 51 in 2019, and then a pandemic in 2020 to keep everybody home. So, you know, if you thiep dinker, wow, use your words, Alonna. If you think deeper into it, you know, it's just strange. Like, what the hell did that guy who started the event do? Like, dude, he started a chain of events. Like, what the hell? Rachel said the Pleiadians are aliens that are theorized that are here on Earth that look just like humans, so they blend in and help us. I could believe that.
Help us or research us? Because I feel like if aliens exist, they're much smarter than us. They're superior in many ways.
Oh yeah, I feel like they're like way more advanced in like their technology and you know, their brains.
So I feel like they'd have to have a lot of compassion to want to help us, because we are a dumpster fire. Tariel,
Rachel said, I can still hear you too, but I can't see the video. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not sure why. I can still see Jamie, and I think she can still see me. So I'm sorry. All you're going to miss is my facial reactions whenever Jamie tells the story, but as long as you can hear us. The Greys are what study us and abduct us. Yeah, see, that's another thing I've always wondered. You know, these alien abductions, like when people just vanish, like into thin air, where do they go?
Right. And there are a lot of accounts of people being taken, and of course, a huge chunk of them are like people who need help, or people who are just flat out lying. Right. But then there are some that are just so odd, or like on a mass scale, that it's just, it's so creepy. And it's like, so, you know, scary movies, they don't scare me. There's like, no, there's none except The Fourth Kind. That movie scared the shit out of me, because if none of you have ever seen it, like, to this day, I will not watch it alone at night. The first time I watched it, I had to sleep with my bedroom light on for 2 weeks.
Damn.
Yeah, it freaked me out because the whole premise is that aliens can come into our homes when we're asleep and abduct us and perform experiments on us and stuff and return us and just wipe our memories so we don't remember it. And just that idea of being completely out of control, having no power, and this shit happening to me, it just terrified me.
Yeah. Chelsea said it's the side-by-side documented footage that makes it so scary. Yo, I know.
Yes, I know. It freaked me the fuck out. And then there were people that tried to and maybe they did. I don't know for sure. I haven't looked into it in a long time, but there were people that like debunked her or tried to, and I don't really know what came of that, but I think even if someone were to come out with the complete absolute truth, there's always going to be people who try to run it into the ground.
Oh yeah. 100% agree. Yeah, that movie was crazy. I haven't seen that movie in a hot minute though. I gotta watch that again. I'm staring at my DVD collection as I looked at it, and all I saw was Silence of the Lambs. I gotta watch that again too. I haven't seen Silence of the Lambs in a hot minute. Somebody said, but why? Why what? Why did the fourth kind scare us? That's what we were just thinking about. Or
why do aliens abduct and experiment on us? I mean, why do we experiment on animals? Why do we experiment?
Or why was I looking at Silence of the Lambs? No one knows the answers to these questions. Unfortunately, no one knows the answers to these questions. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's just it's weird to think about, what else is out there? Who else is out there?
Yeah, and who's really pulling the strings?
Right, especially like the Bermuda Triangle thing, like how people just randomly vanish in the friggin' Bermuda Triangle. How is that possible?
Right, yeah.
Like,
I think there's a whole bunch of shit in this world that
we don't understand, and we
won't. And I don't think we ever will.
I'm not sure if I want to.
Yeah, that's a good point, because it's just like shit like the Bermuda Triangle, it's like, I'm just gonna leave that shit alone. Yeah. I don't ever foresee myself going in that area, so we're good.
Yeah,
just stay away.
Yeah, I mean, and if I know that I'm like traveling somewhere where they're going near it, I'm gonna have to say, yikes, hard pass.
Parachute, please.
Yeah, I'll swim back to shore, y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it's just, I don't know. It's just crazy to think about how there's so much more that we don't know. And another thing that's always, made me think, and it doesn't really tie into aliens, but I keep seeing this thing on Facebook where it's like, would you rather know the secrets of space or the ocean? And what's terrifying is that we've only discovered 25% of our oceans.
Oh, I know. And it's like they keep pulling crazy shit out of the depths of the ocean that look like it's from another planet. And it's just like, well, that's been here this whole time. That's cool.
Yeah, that's terrifying to think about, how we've only discovered 25% of our ocean.
Yeah.
Like, think about that. That's like insane. And
yeah,
like, who knows? Maybe there are mermaids, maybe there are sirens, who knows? Rachel said the fourth kind was crazy because it linked in religion too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, at the end, that was the part that it still gives me chills when it's like possessing her or whatever and screams, "I am God," and it's just like really drawn out and shit. Oh, just thinking about it gives me the heebies and the jeebies.
Well, can't see it right now, but I'm doing that leg shake thing. And
then there was another one on Unsolved Mysteries, one of the newer seasons, I believe,
with Dennis Farina, also R.I.P.
I think it's William Shatner. Is that a different show?
I think that's a different show. Yeah, I don't think William Shatner was ever on Unsolved Mysteries.
Or I don't know. It's one of those
maybe the Unexplained or Mysteries of the Unknown or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And they covered a story about there's this whole town that had an experience at the same exact time. And it was like this, for one set of people, it was like this kid who was at his neighbor's house, and she used to babysit him and her siblings or whatever. and they heard something outside, and he went outside, and there was this huge light, like it lit up the entire yard, and he's walking towards it. And I don't remember if it was like he, at one point, he lifted up and like levitated towards it or something. And then he got knocked out and he didn't remember anything, but she saw the entire thing happen because she followed him outside.
Right.
And then at the same exact time, across town, there was this woman in her car with her mother and her son, and she might have had her.
I know what one you're talking about. That was what I was talking about with the mother, and then the mother got really, really sick afterward.
I don't remember if she got really sick afterwards, but they were driving and they got to like a covered bridge.
Yeah.
And there was a huge light, and then they like blacked out, and then when they came to, the mother and well, I guess the grandmother, her mother, they were switched.
Yeah.
Like they were put back in the wrong seats. And it made no sense that her mother was in the driver's seat because she didn't drive.
Right.
Her daughter, the mother, she drove everywhere. And then the kids in the back seat, I think they were in the same seat, but it was something like their seatbelts weren't on anymore. Or their seatbelts were on, something like, it's just they weren't put back correctly. So, and there were other instances across the entire town where weird shit like this happened. And it's just like, why doesn't anyone fucking talk about this? Because it was all at the same time, and it was all these different people had this one experience, but also like different experiences, but connected to this one experience. And just the fact that something like that could happen to an entire town, that is terrifying.
Yo, right? It reminds me of you ever see that one episode of Unsolved Mysteries where there's like the gelatin rain?
No.
Like some town, like it was like raining like gelatin, like it was rain, and like unfortunately all the cats and the dogs were dying, and anybody who came in contact with it, they got really sick, but they never knew where it came from or what it was.
What the hell?
It was like a really like thick like paste, but it was rain. It was falling out of the sky, and they don't know. Still, I don't know if they ever figured out what it was. I have to watch that episode of Unsolved Mysteries again, but they don't know what it was. Like it was just falling out of the sky, and
that's crazy.
A lot of people got sick. A lot of animals passed away because if it touched you or whatever, if it like touched you, it was like fucking like with your body, and it was like making you like extremely, extremely sick. And
so was it irradiated?
No one knows.
Oh.
No one knows. Because
you know what? I'm sure scientists did collect some of it.
Yeah.
And they tested it, and I'm sure they know, but they're not gonna tell us.
Oh, yeah. And, there was, like, this whole thing where, like, they couldn't figure out what it was or where it came from. I mean, I'm sure that they have an idea now, but I forget where that was, but that was, like, a whole town that happened. And it was literal rain. Like, and they said that, like, it didn't burn if it touched your skin, but it was, like, a gel. It was, like, slimy and, like, gel.
Like viscous.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah, like it was like, okay, like when you peel off the glue from the back of your credit cards?
Yeah.
It was like that.
Oh.
So that's terrifying.
I'm going to have to look that one up and watch that. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's I forget what episode that is. I think it was a Dennis Farina episode, to be honest with you. But I know it was definitely Unsolved Mysteries, 100%. Rachel says the Sumerians worshipped and knew the Anunnakis, and it's theorized that the Anunnakis are the fallen angels from the Bible, so that's why they had her talking in ancient Sumerian and scream, I am God. I only learned that a few months ago after loving the movie for years. That's interesting. I did not know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
It's so creepy. Oh, that movie freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't get scared by scary movies, but that one, that's the one, man. Ugh.
That's the one. That's how it be. That's how it be. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay, because I plugged in this microphone and I wanted to see if it works. Does it work?
Yes.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, but I don't know. It's so weird to me how there's so many things that we don't know. And like
Mm-hmm.
nothing is certain, nothing is known. And it's weird, like, and I remember in my 9th grade biology class watching a documentary that said we were descended from rocks.
What?
Yeah. So it's like, but it's a good point because it's like, where did we come from? And I saw one time somebody say that they saw something where it said that like humans like bred with or not humans, aliens bred with gorillas, and that's where human beings came from.
Oh.
Isn't that like
Why?
really?
Why gorillas?
Well, because we're descended from monkeys.
Right, but like, why did an alien come down as like that one? We're gonna breed with that one.
Well, I wish I knew what they were thinking.
Unless it was because apes are like the most intelligent species, animals, whatever.
Right.
That's the only reason I can think of. So
Who knows? I mean, but it wouldn't be a far off theory, it's not like it would be impossible. I mean, it kind of would make sense, because they do say that we descended from apes, which is a very strange thing, but it explains a lot. So
it's proven.
Yeah. So there's that. But Chelsea said maybe the most compatible parts. I don't know.
Could be.
I don't know. If I was an alien and I looked at a gorilla, I would have to just pass.
Or maybe like kind of with the compatibility, maybe the most compatible genes.
Maybe.
Because maybe it was like gene splicing and shit like that.
Right. Because, if you listen to, it's sick to think about, but also in biology, I learned that we are all from the same gene pool. So technically, everybody in the world is related.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of gross to think about?
Yeah, but I kind of already accepted it because us weavers, we have bastard children all over the place.
I don't have a bastard child, but
no, we do not, but
yeah,
certain members of our family.
But but yeah, it's just weird to think about how we're all literally from the same gene pool. And I remember when I was in English class in the 7th grade, my teacher told us, now, this could be false information. This could be just telling, a bunch of 12-year-olds weird shit to get them to shut up and do their work. But I remember having this teacher who said that your last name is what you were like what your ancestors did for a living. Like if your last name was Baker, like you were like a baker or some shit. Like that's really weird too, to think about how our ancestors were like basket weavers and shit like that.
Yeah, and now we're high and mighty police officers.
Yikes.
Big yikes.
Yikes.
But yeah, and then I mean, talking about the same gene pool.
Yeah.
Oh,
no,
are you good?
Yeah, no, you're good.
You were like breaking up and stuff.
Oh, sorry. I disconnected that.
Okay, no.
Yeah.
It's all right, you're good. But speaking of like the coming from the same gene pool, Carl Jung also has a theory of I forget exactly what it's called, but it's like and maybe it's just shared consciousness, that we all have a shared consciousness that we can tap into. And so it's like we have all the knowledge of the world, and it's just a matter, or all the knowledge of what everybody else has. So
right.
And I thought that was interesting because it makes me think of cases of demonic possession, when people will be like, she started speaking Latin and she doesn't know Latin. How did she do that? And it's like, well, what if it's not demons, but what if she's or whoever is suffering so much from some sort of mental health issue that like their brain is clicking into that pool of consciousness and is able to pull understanding of different languages.
Right. I was told that when I was a child, I used to speak Latin in my sleep. So there's that one.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. I have no recollection of ever doing it, but I was told that I spoke Latin clear as day in my sleep, and I was like 7 or 8, and I didn't and still don't know Latin. So there's that.
So maybe you were dreaming inside the collective consciousness.
Well, they say that like dreams are like your other self, like that there's like 12 versions of you, and that whenever you dream, you're like seeing your other selves or some shit like that. And that some people remember dreams and some people don't, but that we all dream. Nobody just falls asleep and sees nothing, but that like certain people, see dreams and certain people don't.
Right. And some people just have no ability to remember their dreams.
Right. And
which
that's
I
a
think
normal
just
thing.
Sucks.
Yeah. But I mean, if my dreams are my other self, then yikes. That means that I ended up with somebody I really didn't want to.
Well, I think dreams are a lot of processing. Processing shit that you're going through in life and your experiences.
Oh, yeah.
Shit like that.
Yeah, I agree. But, it brings you into, astral projection too then,
Yeah.
And how you can see things and, literally leave your body. Like,
right, yeah. And there are stories, I don't know if anything is like legit or verified, but there are stories of people who will astral project, go and see something, come back, wake up, and then like go and talk to that person like, I know you were talking shit on me kind of thing, like that's not what it was, but just as an example.
Yeah, so. that reminds me of did you see the new Stephen King movie Dr. Sleep?
Yes, I loved it.
It's like that, yeah. Rachel said, I have to go eat dinner now. If you guys are still on, when I'm done, I'll tune back in. I don't want to leave. I love this. If you guys are done, when I come back, I'll watch the rest later. Okay, bye, Rachel. I don't know why.
Rachel.
I don't know why I couldn't speak those words and say that last sentence, but wouldn't be a podcast if I spoke clearly.
The day we don't stumble over our words is the day, viewers, that you know that we have been replaced by alien lizard people.
Not my chair, not my problem. I love that. Where did that come from? The wise lizard on acid?
I have no idea.
You ever see that meme where it says a wise lizard on acid once said, not my chair, not my problem?
No.
You've never seen that?
I
have to find the meme, but it says a wise lizard on acid once said, not my chair, not my problem.
No, I'm surprised I haven't seen that one.
I feel that. Not my chair, not my problem. But yeah, I mean, it's just, it's really insane to think about and theorize and stare off into space and play with a plastic bag.
And there's so many different accounts, and like,
there's nothing in. Don't worry, there's nothing in.
No drugs.
No.
But there's so many different accounts by different types of people. From skeptics to full-on believers to scientists to religious people. And right. So it's like, you can't deny that there's something. I don't know what.
I agree.
I have no theory, but I think there's something.
Oh, I agree.
Especially when you have people in the military saying like, "Oh yeah, this shit happened."
Like during my watch, I saw this or I saw that or I experienced this or I experienced that, because, and you would think, oh, it's like a trend, but how do people from all different walks of life and all different careers and all across the world experience very similar things?
Right. And especially people in the military, they have to be careful about what they say.
Right.
Because they could get in trouble for shit. So if they're going around saying like, oh, on base I saw an alien, like they're going to get shit for that.
Yeah. Clearly, like.
There was another Unsolved Mysteries type episode I saw where it was a cop and a helicopter pilot. They might have both been cops, but one of them was able to fly a helicopter, and they were going somewhere to help with something, and on their way there, they saw a light coming towards them, and the pilot tried to like talk to them, be like, hey, you know, watch out, we're here, but there was no one to reach, and then the light stopped, and it was like moving side to side and up and down and shit, like things that, and like very quickly, things that a helicopter or a plane would not be able to do.
Yeah.
You know, at that speed. And then it just disappeared. And both of them saw it. And both of them are cops, you know, they're professionals, so they're not just gonna, I mean, if they made that shit up, I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, everybody lies, yeah, but about that?
Right, you know, and especially when you have multiple people from a town, you know, talking about the lion, and, you know, you could debunk it and say that, but how do you have multiple people from a town that are all coming forward with this shit for no reason? You know,
yeah.
What are they getting out of it? Nothing.
And it all falls within the same span of like 3 or 4 hours.
Right. You know, so I don't know. It's a strange world. I wish we knew more. I wish we had more of the ocean discovered. That would be super cool. But, you know, it took us friggin' 63 years to find the Titanic.
Yeah.
So, you know, who knows? Who knows?
Yeah,
you know,
and then you get weird shit that, yeah, you get weird shit that comes up from the deep that's dead. Like those huge fucking squids that just, they're like, poof, I'm here now.
And you're just like,
so, who knows?
Okay. But you know what's very strange to me? What I think is, Chelsea said alien ocean bases. Yeah, maybe.
Can't rule anything out, seriously.
Honestly. What's really strange to me is I don't know how into the Titanic you are.
I mean, I know about it.
When I was growing up, my brother was very, very into Titanic. Every movie, every documentary, every Titanic toy, you name it, it was in my house. But the thing that's always made me wonder is those pictures. If the water is this tremendous amount of pressure and, you know, all these organisms are eating away at the metal, why are the shoes from the people on board still intact? And aside from that, if, you know, there's this tremendous amount of pressure and all this other shit under there, and if they tried to pull the Titanic up, it would crumble as soon as it hit the air. Why is there so much pressure in the ocean?
Right. I guess because it's closer to the center of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, gravity is more. I don't know.
You know,
I mean, like, water pressure is it's legit. You know, well, yeah, I don't know if you saw recently the video footage of the New York subways, but that water was pouring through like fucking Niagara Falls.
Yeah, 100%, it's legit. But my only problem with that is, you know, how were those shoes and those lumps of coal and so much other stuff and safes and everything from the Titanic? How is it still intact if it's been underwater for over a century?
Right. Yeah.
Like,
and I'm also curious as to. Right. And I'm curious as to, okay, they can't bring it up because it would crumble, but then how was it not totally destroyed by the pressure going down?
Right.
Into that pressure.
Right.
I would think that would crush it, not bringing it back up.
Right. Not the pressure going up, but I guess because it's been so eaten by organisms, I guess maybe it's weak, but you would think that, and they said, you know, eventually it'll be just a piece of twisted metal, but my thing is, like you're saying, how did the pressure not completely obliterate that? How did the pressure not completely obliterate the coal and, you know, all the glass and all the metal safes that are still down there and all the shoes and everything else?
Yeah.
You know, how did it not obliterate the submarine that friggin' found the Titanic? It's just weird to me.
Yeah. Unless it's just at a certain point where it's like the pressure is really starting there, but it's manageable. Maybe.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I'm not a real scientist. I just play one on TV.
Yeah. Yeah, I play one on TV too. But I don't know. It's just it's very strange to me, and I would be really fascinated um to see, like, like take a submarine tour or whatever and just see the Titanic. Like, that's so fascinating to me. And the fact that they said God himself couldn't sink this ship and then it did sink is what's crazy to me. Is what's crazy to me. And no matter what you believe in, you should always know, never test the universe. Never say anything like that. Whether it be, the world can't sink this, or God can't do this, or the universe can't do that, don't do that.
Yeah. Don't tempt fate.
Yeah, because they will. But, and like I said, my thing is, I think the thing that always bugged me is also, if the Titanic split in half, right? They said that I forget what part it is. I don't know if it's the bow or if it's the stern. I don't know which part's still intact. I can't remember. My brother would know. He's like the Titanic encyclopedia. I can't remember which part's still intact, but they said that when it broke off, like, how it's split in half?
Yeah.
They said that when it broke off, the one part that went down first, I'll have to look it up because now it's going to bug me, but the one part that went down in the water first is nothing more than just twisted metal on the ocean floor. So how did that happen to one part and not the other?
Could it be because of the way that it sunk? Like, if it took a nosedive down, then it's more obliterated than a part that went down kind of like at an angle.
Well, maybe. Yeah, maybe. I mean, but I think that the one that's still intact is the one that went straight down. Because it turned upward. So, like, here's the Titanic, right? It turned upward and it split in half, and the other part kind of floated there, and the one part went down first, and then the other part came down straight down too. So both pieces went straight down, but they said one went down faster than the other, like at more speed. I don't know if that had something to do with it, but it's just weird how one is still intact and they said one is just a twisted metal frame now.
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Aliens sunk the Titanic.
Well, somebody sunk the Titanic. I don't know about the aliens, but somebody did. But no, seriously, that's always been fascinating to me too. And I recently read somewhere, I forget who it was. Was it Rockefeller? I don't remember who it was, but somebody had a ticket to the Titanic and they overslept, so they didn't go on.
Oh yeah, I do remember hearing that.
I can't remember who it was. It might have been Rockefeller.
I just heard that recently too.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Yeah, I wish I knew who it was because, oh God, I don't remember. But it's crazy, things like that. And like I said, Mythbusters said it. Had the Titanic have hit that iceberg head on, it probably wouldn't have sunk.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because when they turned, what happened was the iceberg was underneath the ocean too. It wasn't just above the ocean. And it formed like a spike, and it ripped at the watertight compartments. And they said that that's what happened. And had they have hit it straight on, yeah, they still would have been damaged. Yeah, they probably wouldn't have been able. They probably would have been stranded at sea, but it probably most likely wouldn't have sunk.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very strange. Now I want to watch Titanic. Yeah, God damn it. Now I want to watch Titanic.
Yeah, but whenever I've watched it, I mean, I've seen the whole thing, of course, but ever since I saw it the full way through, ever since then, I only watch part one because I don't want to see the end. It's just too fucking sad.
I know, but I always want to punch Rose in the face because Tal is such a jerk. But that was that time, I mean, I get it. That was that time. That was what they did. But I was glad when she picked Jack. But that's another thing. Mythbusters also said both of them, Jack and Rose, could have floated on that door without it sinking.
Yep.
Just saying. And then, and then she keeps the heart of the ocean for 84 years, just yeets it off the side of the boat, and then dies that same night. What the fuck? She's just like, yeah, here's a rare, like, $1 million diamond. Let me just yeet it off the back of this boat real quick.
Right, not like, hey, let's take this, run away together, and I'll sell this, and then we can live happily ever after.
Yeah, right? Like, I don't know. I think Jack should have lived. I don't think it was fair. I think it was good, sad, but they said that, that's really what happened, that only one lifeboat went back for the rest of the survivors. That was actually factual. Clearly the Titanic movie is fabricated, but they had said that, one lifeboat actually did go back, and they praised that guy, and he pretty much said, I'm not a hero, I was just doing what was right, because he was the only one that went back out of all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they said...
I'm shocked that more didn't go back. Like, why wouldn't you?
I think they said that they were, like, the people in the water were like, blowing whistles and shit, and they said that when he went back, I don't know, was it 7 people, but he pulled 7 people out that were actually still alive. But they thought they were dead, but they were actually still alive. But, yeah, and that's crazy to think about. And, how somebody in that moment, when all their, colleagues and superiors, half their superiors just went down with the ship, and the other half of their colleagues are like, fuck you, I'm out. And that guy had enough courage to say, wait a minute, maybe there's still a chance. And he turned around and went back and went out of his way. And he didn't have to. He could have just kept going. And he turned around and he went back. I applaud that man. I hope that man lived a very happy life after that. I mean, clearly he's not around anymore, but I hope that... I think they said he was young, too, like, when he did that. I think he was, like, only 24 or 25. Yeah, I hope he lived...
I couldn't imagine just being like, okay, bye, and, like, not feeling horrible and thinking for the rest of my life, how many people could I have saved if I just tried?
Right, and then, they were saying how there was a fear that, like, they were going to, like, ravage the boat, but the reality of it was, a lot of those people were already gone. So they weren't really going to ravage the lifeboats. A lot of those people, unfortunately, were already gone. If the cold water didn't kill them, the impact from jumping off of the boat, because a lot of them jumped off the boat, a lot of them were already gone. So what were you afraid of being ravaged by? I would rather have a bunch of people ravage my lifeboat and try to get on and me have to sail away and, like, paddle away from them than know that I just left all those people out there.
Right, because it's better to save 5 than none.
Right. It's crazy. Well, that was really sad. Okay.
Yeah. Moral of the story, don't be a dick.
Yeah. You have it in your bio, and it's true. Don't be a dirtbag.
That's right.
Yeah. Don't be a dirtbag.
Rule number 2.
Yeah. Because this thing, my paperclip holder, is going to eat you if you're a dirtbag.
Oh, it's adorable.
I don't know what it is. My mom got it at a job fair she was working at once, and it's a paperclip holder. Like, the paperclip's like, it's like magnetic, so they like stick inside of it. I just dropped the paperclip. Damn it.
Not magnetic enough.
Yeah, right? But yeah, it's like an aid type thing. It's really cool. I love it. I named him Rocco. Anyway, Rocco's coming for you if you're a dirtbag.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm a child. I got very off topic talking about the Titanic, and then I was looking at my little aid. So,
do we ever completely stay on topic? Ever?
No. That was
fine.
a really good debate about the Titanic. Now I really want to watch Titanic now. But it's too sad. So maybe I'll just watch a Titanic documentary so I can feel like it's still sad, but at least I know Jack and Rose didn't exist. Well, no, my brother told me that there was a Jack Dawson that was on the Titanic, but that it was like he like had some kind of wife with him or something. And like he was like the premise, but that the love story like literally never happened. But there was a Jack Dawson like on the Titanic. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then what I always found interesting was how, at that time, and clearly you'll see in the Titanic movie how the one guy saved himself. He was like, "Fuck you guys, I'm out," and
Mm-hmm.
he was considered a coward. He was like slandered all through newspapers and shit. They called him a coward because he jumped overboard and he got on a lifeboat and was like, "Yeah, I'll see you guys on the other side."
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to like talk shit on a dead guy, but that kind of wasn't a nice move.
Right, yeah. When, there are like children and old people on this boat.
Yeah. What kills me is they only had 13 lifeboats because they didn't think it would sink.
Real smart guys. That's some
Like I
real
said,
forward thinking.
always be prepared and don't test the universe.
Yes. Don't tempt fate.
Yeah,
Because fate will bitch slap you.
Yeah, don't be like, oh, God himself can't sink this ship. Okay. And look where that got you. Now you're under the Pacific Ocean or Atlantic. I think it's Atlantic, yeah. Now you're under the Atlantic Ocean for 109 years. So what do you mean? What do you mean he couldn't sink the ship? He did. But
God or aliens, who knows? It's a mystery.
The world may never know.
I'm gonna go with that forever now that aliens sunk the Titanic.
Dude, we gotta call ancient aliens and be like, you have to do this segment right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's all I have for tonight, though.
Same here. I will be probably sleeping with the light on tonight because aliens scare me. So
just sleep with the TV on. That's what real adults do.
Yeah.
They just fall asleep with the TV on, and then you wake up at 4 a.m. You're like, who the hell left the TV on? Yep.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us and giving us your tidbits about aliens, especially Rachel. If we do aliens again, we should definitely have Rachel on because she knows a shit ton of stuff about aliens.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, this is Alonna.
And I'm Jamie.
And this has been Ghoulfriends. Catch you next time.
Bye, guys.
And broadcast.